Welcome to Palladium Dashboard Training and BI Reports. So I'll just start with in today's training I'll be covering the basics of dashboards, how to use them, how they operate, and also just an introduction on how to create your own dashboards. So I'm just going to start with the introduction of what dashboards are and what are they used for. So dashboards are well, a textbook definition is a comprehensive snapshot of the company's performance at a specific time or over a time period. It helps you draw trends. It helps you visualize the information much more better. As you all know, accounting information is always numbers, but with the dashboards, it's presented in a visual form in terms of pictures, graphs, tables, trends, for better understanding, analysis, and improving your business decisions. So I'll be showing you dashboards on the Palladium Premium version. So once you open up your Palladium, you can see there's a dashboard option at the very top. So once you select the drop-down menu, you have different dashboards that you can select from, which is the main section, which will give you an overall view of your company. So I will open all the dashboards so that we can see how they work and how to use them. So I'm just giving an introduction and a basic overview of everything right now. So you have your accounts payable, accounts receivable. That will give you information about that, your inventory, your warehouse, your business, your CRM, which is your customer relationship management, and the new dashboard. And that's where you create a new dashboard from scratch and according to your liking. So I'm just going to open the main dashboard, and we're just going to have an overview of how everything looks and how everything feels before we create a new dashboard. So once you open up your dashboard, you'll see that this is the interface you get. This is the default interface. So starting from the top, you have your home tab, which is this drop-down menu. So from this, then you have your standard dashboard drop-down menu, which is where you select the different dashboards that you want to open. And if you do have custom dashboards, you would select them here. So these are just custom ones that I was doing. Then you have your dashboard designer. This is where you design your dashboards, where you select the colors, the picture, if you want it to be a graph, a pie chart, and what information you want on the dashboard. And this is just another option for you to create a new dashboard. Then for data source, this is just where your information is being pulled from. So since this is integrated with Palladium, it will always be default because it's already integrated for you. Then your data list is just default settings. So you don't have to select anything here. And then you have your date filter, which you can change to today, current week, and the financial year. So just to note, once you select your date filter, you just have to refresh your data and it will populate accordingly. So now you can even customize the date if you want it over a 2-year period or 1-year period. So I'm just going to use the financial year. So looking at our main dashboard right now, we have different screens, different blocks, and they have different information. So you have your top vendors. So these are your top vendors for this financial year. And you can just go on top of it to get more information. So it's same thing with the graphs. If you want one for a specific period, Then you have your bank balances screen. So whenever you hover around a selected graph or bar, it'll give you more information on what the bar entails. So let's say you want to edit this information. You want to edit the size, the feel, and how it looks. Okay, just before, I just forgot to mention something. So with this information, you can export it to a print preview, a PDF, an image, or an Excel document. And it'll preview for all these tables that you're seeing right now. And if you want to export just one specific table, you can just select it. You can select the export feature on the specific table. So you'll see on the top right, every table has an export button. So now we're going to go into the designer mode, the dashboard designer. So this is where you create, not necessarily create, but how you structure it and how you set the different parameters. So as you can see, in the dashboard designer, we have the home option. These are the different options that you have in terms of creating a pivot table, a grid, a chart, pie chart, or tree maps. And you also have your other options of duplicating, deleting, converting, transposing a graph, and color selections. Then you have your data source tab. So in your data source tab, this is where the information is being pulled. This is where you tell the system where to get the information that's going to be populated. So seeing that this is a default dashboard, you won't need to edit anything here as it is system generated. Then you have your data tab. So on your data tab, this is where you filter. For example, if you just want to see for a specific vendor, you just select on single master filter and you click on that vendor and it'll filter the data accordingly. Then you have your design. Your design is where you design the specific graph, where you set how you want to look. So you have the options of show caption. The caption is the heading of the graph. And then if you want to edit the names that are inside the specific table, you would click here and you can change the name of the dashboard and also change the name of the values. Then you also have options of how you want the data to be structured. If you want this information to not be on the outside of the circle, you would select how you want it. You want it inside the circle or outside, and how you want the pie chart to look. Should it be a pie or a donut? And this is where you would select your different colors. So going back to the home screen, so I just wanted to show you how you edit your default dashboards. For example, if you did not want a pie chart for your top vendors, you have an option of converting the specific table into a pie chart, so once you right click on the specific table, you get this menu and there's an option to convert it. So the items that you see here are the same items that would be on the top of your screen. So if you want to convert it into a chart, you would just click on convert and say chart, and it'll automatically convert it into a chart. And you can reverse it by just clicking on convert and going back to pie. You can do this for all the types of graphs, all the tables that you see currently. All right. So the information that you see in the table is set up through these data items here. So if you remove the purchases, it won't be there. So for example, if you had to create one from scratch, this is where you would set it up. So you would say under the data items for values, you would put purchases, and under arguments, you would have your vendor description. So I'm just doing a quick overview of how things look and how they feel before we create a new dashboard and go into it in depth. So once you've done editing it in terms of colors and what type of tables and charts that you want, you'll just click on Save As, and the new dashboard or the edited dashboard will be saved and will be available for you to view. Afterwards, you can close the dashboard designer, and this is the main screen for the dashboard. So I'm just going to take you through the other dashboards that we have. So we have one for accounts payable. These are default dashboards, by the way. So under your accounts payable, you'll have a graph, a bar graph for your open codes, more information on which vendors have open codes and open orders, and the purchase invoices that you have processed throughout the year. So you'll see that I only have a few because we are using the sample company. So only a few transactions have been processed. And just something to note about dashboards is that the output of the dashboard is as good as the input. So what I mean by that is that if your input and your customer information is not complete on your dashboard, it won't appear or give you an accurate picture. So the output of the dashboard is only as good as the input. All right, so let's go through to the accounts receivable and let's see what we have there. So we also have a similar style of things. We have our open orders, customer sales for the year. If you wanted it for a specific month, you would just simply change the date filter to the current month or custom. All right. So you have your new versus old customer sales comparison. So we're using a sample company and I have not processed the financial year. So this would not be accurate. We have our open codes table here, our due balances. So these are the balances of our debtors, our sales mix. So under accounts receivable, you're also able to filter. For example, you can see information for only one specific customer. So for example, let's just take the top one. Apologies for that. So for that specific customer, it'll give us information on that. So there's no open orders, that's why it's blank. Customer sales, you have one line item there. And what else? You have one open code for this customer. Let's try using all customers and let's filter by salesperson. So this will work if you do have salesperson set up in your company. So these are just default names that I created for illustration purposes. So the specific salesperson, Bali, has an open order for this company for this value. And for this current financial year, she has made sales to all these clients or all these customers so far. Then we're able to see the open codes that are under her name. the sales invoices under her name. So in terms of KPIs, this will be a good way to see them. And if you wanted to incentive, give incentive to your salesperson based on their performance, this will be a very good analysis of your salesperson. And if you wanted to send this to them, you could simply just export it to a PDF, an Excel document, and send it or keep it for record. Or if you only wanted to send the customer sales, you would click on the specific table export file and do so accordingly. All right, so let's go down to the inventory run. So this is our default inventory dashboard. So on our default inventory dashboard, we have top sales item by quantity, top sales item by value, top sales item by margin. So this will give us an analysis of which items are performing the most. So as you can see from this, our biggest pie consumer is the inventory test item 1, which is currently 41%, represents 41% of our sales. So if we had to make a decision of whether of reinvesting in this specific item or purchasing or discontinuing it, we would be able to see from this graph that it's not advisable because it's our biggest contributor to revenue. And this is top sales by value, and this is based on the value of one item. Then you also have your top sales by item by margin. So this will be under your profit margins. And this will be all set up for you. So these are default tables. So at the bottom here, we have item quantity by warehouse. So if you have different locations set up and different warehouses set up for you in your company, you'll be able to filter them out in this table. And then here we have item sales report. So here it'll give you how many quantities you sold for the year under this. Then you also have the sales value and the revenue generated and the profit. So this will be very helpful when making decisions about your inventory in terms of discontinuing it or continuing to sell it. All right, let's see the next dashboard that we have. Okay, we have a warehouse dashboard. So as I was explaining that, since I do not have warehouses set up and different locations set up for my company, which is the sample company, there is no information. But if you do have information, it'll be populated in the screen. So you'll have your open ticket numbers here, your open ticket total items versus remaining items, and so forth. So let's go into business. So business, I believe it's for projects. So if you do have projects set up, so this is mostly like your constructions or things that take a long period of time. So you would have your dashboard here and it'll give you a detailed overview of how things are happening in terms of if a building has been completed for 15% and you expect a 10% deposit or progress deposit. It'll give you a breakdown of that here. All right, so so that was just an overview of the default dashboard. So right now, I just want to create a new dashboard from scratch. So I'm just going to click here on New Dashboard. So once you click on the New Dashboard feature, you'll see that this is a screen that opens up. So on this screen, it'll be blank, and you'll see under data source, it is blank. So here, when creating a new dashboard, you have to create a new data source. So you do that by going to the data source tab. So if you remember, the data source tab is where you tell the program where the information is lying, where to draw the information that will be populated to the different tables, dashboards, and graphs. So the first step would be to click on Add Query. So you have the option of doing selecting a query or selecting a stored procedure. So under stored procedures, it will list all the available stored procedures that you can select. So for example, if you wanted a list of your salesperson in the company, you would go to, I just need to find one to show you an example. I think it's get salesperson. So if you wanted a list of all the salespeople in the company, you'll just select that and click on preview, and it'll give you all the salespeople in your company. So the problem with this is that once you select a specific stored procedure, you're not able to edit that stored procedure. So what we want to select is a query. So once you select that, you can select Run Query Builder. So, so Palladium, just to explain what's happening right now. So Palladium uses SQL, Microsoft SQL, to store the database and all the information that is used by Palladium. So all your invoices, your document, your customer names, the sales, and all that information is stored in a database called SQL. So SQL saves those respective information and invoices, customer names, account names, and financial information into tables. So when doing dashboards, you're gonna have to link those tables to get the information that you want. For example, if you want to get the top or a list of the vendors that are, oh, how do I put this? If you want to get a list of all the customers in your company, um, you would have to go locate the table that has the customer information. Or if you wanted all the inventory in your company, you would have to go locate that table. So this is a bit intermediate. So if this is a bit difficult for you, you can just use the default dashboards, or you can just play around until you familiarize yourself with the tables. So right now I'm going to create a table that will show us our salespeople's performance. All right. So I'm going to look for the table that has our salespeople's information. So if you can see here, the first three letters are TBL, which just represents table. Then the next letters will be, or the following letters will be the word or the name of the table. So I said we want to be creating a salespeople's performance table. So I want to look for the salesperson's table, so which will be TBLS, and I'll click on that. So once you click on the table, at the bottom you can see what columns are inside the table. So as you can see here, you have your sales name, the street, the address, the email, other information, country, Facebook, LinkedIn information, and the gross profit. So this is the table I want. So I can either double click it and it'll show up on this side, or I could drag it to the screen. All right. So on this table, I'm looking for the salesperson's name. So I click on that specific table. Sorry, on that specific column that I want. All right. Then I'm also looking for the performance in terms of how much they sold and how much did they sell in terms of account and how much did they sell in terms of cash. So we can also go look for the invoice. So as you can see that some tables are highlighted in bold and some are normal. So the reason for that is that it shows you that inside this table, there's information about the salesperson. So this is an order document. So this will have information about the salesperson's outstanding order documents. So I'm looking for invoices, which will represent revenue and sales. See, and as you can see here, it is highlighted. So I'm going to double click on that and it's going to open on the other side. So on this side, I'm going to look for the total sales amount. So just to explain, so the first three letters, as you can see here, it's STR, which represents string. That means these are characters, so letters, alphabets. And then you also have the other option of DEC. This is represents decimal. That means there's a numeric value inside that column. So I'm going to go for the DEC total, which means there's a numeric value and as it is total. So I believe it'll represent the revenue. Apologies for that. Then I also would like to know who they sold it to. So I also want the customer name and who it was sold. And afterwards, you can also add other information in terms of, let's see, what do you have? Journal date, when it was sold, VAT information, how it was paid. If you use different currencies for different customers, you can select the currency column. So I'm just going to do these 4 columns just to show you a simple dashboard. So you also have an option down here to preview what you've created. So here you can see that you have a salesperson's name, there's Kevin, there's Mbali, and there's Sipo, and they repeat. This just shows that they have sold to different customers. Then you have the total revenue, and then you also have the customer name. Well, this is the customer code, and the customer name is under the sold to. All right, so if I'm happy with the information, I'm gonna click on close and click on OK here. Then I would click on finish. So as you can see now, under my data source here, there is information that is available. So I'm going to go back to home, and then I'm going to start creating my tables or charts or whatever is appropriate. So I think, well, I'm going to use my own logic. So the first thing I would like to see when I open a dashboard in terms of salesperson's performance is who are the salespeople in the company, or who are the salespeople who sold items. So I would go for a grid. So I would click on grid, and as you see, it just opens a blank page, and then you have options here under data items. So this is how you populate the grid. So in my first column, I would like the salesperson's name actually. So as you can see, it populates it immediately. Then I would like to know how much they sold in this financial year. So that'll be, I'll put this in the new column. So as you can see, it populated. Kevin sold for 176,000. Bali sold for 97,000. Sipo sold for 62,000. All right. So that's good. But then if I wanted to know who are the customers or who did they sell it to, I would then create a new column by just clicking and dragging it to the new column field, and it gives me the customer code. But the customer code is not enough, so I will add a description, and I just drag it. And just like that, you have created a grid. Okay, so that's good. What else would I like to see that'll be easier to understand or help me make decisions or see who was the best performer for that month or financial year? So I'll be like, okay, I think charts are more easy to read. So I'll click on charts, and then it opens a blank piece of page here. Um, okay, I just skipped a step here. So after creating the grid and populating the information, you are able to design it. And what I mean by design, by changing the column names, the look, the layout. As you can see, currently is just plain black and white. So how you do that is just by selecting the specific table and going to design. So under design, you have the options of show caption or no caption. So as you can see, when you click on show caption, it hides the word grid one. So you can decide if you want that. Then you have an option of edit names. So under edit names, you can edit the dashboard item name to sales reps. And the first column, I would like it to be the name. Then the total column, I would like it to be total revenue. Here will be the customer code and customer name. So once you click on OK, it will change the column names appropriately. Then you also have these options here, horizontal lines. Do you want horizontal lines or not? I would prefer horizontal lines so I can see what belongs where. And you also have options of hiding vertical lines, and also an option of blended in terms of the color scheme here. And you also have the word warp option if you want all the information to be shown or not. All right. So once you're done with that, you can go back to home. So here we were trying to create a chart. So you we have selected the chart and it opened the blank screen, right? So once you select that, now we have to select the information that we want to populate it with. So on a chart, so it gives you a bit of guidance. So here in the columns, it wants value, something that has to do with value. So here we have our DEC total, which is value, which is revenue. So I'll just take that and drag it there. All right. Then arguments are the bars, the information that will be on your x-axis. So there I would want to know about the customers. All right. So here I have the customer information and how much revenue was made from them or how much sales I've gotten from them. But then this is about the salesperson. So let's add a series to it. Let's do that. I think I made that vice versa. So the arguments will be the sales name, the salesperson, and the series will be the customer name. So here we can see that Kevin sold how much to which customer, and there's a legend on top. So TST03 and TST06 are Kevin's largest customers, and he sold to them the most for the financial year. Then let's go to the next one. Let's say we want to create a pie chart. You would click on it and it'll give us an open screen. So the same thing on the open screen. You have to populate it. So you have the options of values. So values, you use the same column, the DCE total, which is the total revenue. You select that. Then argument is our sales name, our sales people. We put that in there. I think that should be C's actually. Then our arguments will be customer name. So this will also represent a pie chart of the different salesperson. So Kevin will be represented by this pie chart showing who are his biggest customers and who he sold to the most. And there's another option of creating cards. Cards are just, like they say, like a business card. A card just has information. So you can set it up whichever way you like. So I'm just going to do one quickly now. So with the cards, it'll give you information about Kevin. So this is sorted by name, I believe. Okay, there's no actual order. So with cards, it just tells you that Kevin sold to TST for how much. So remember that dashboards is just a visual representation of a company performance. So different people prefer different things. So if you prefer cards and you like to see information this way, you can set up information this way. So you also have the option, if you don't like this, you can convert it into something else. So you just right click it and go to convert and you'll select the appropriate what you want. So I'm going to use a gauge. Okay, so I just have to set it up properly here. So I'm just going to set that one up there. Then so with a gauge, it's like a gauge that we see in a car. The one that tells us about the petrol the speed and everything. So as you can see, if you go into your designer tab, you're able to design it or select the type of design that you want. So if you want it to be a full circular gauge, half circular, right quarter, you would select the appropriate one. So with gauge, it's also a good performance indicator to see if the individual salesperson is meeting their targets, how far are they from meeting the target, and just a performance gauge as well. So as you can see, this is how you would create a dashboard to your preference and to your liking. So another feature of this is, let's say you want to see information of just one specific salesperson. So what you will do, will go to data, the data tab on top. So with the data tab, this is where you filter information. So you can see you can edit filters. You have a single filter, a multiple filter, a drill down. So with a drill down is that if you have a table or a specific graph that is linked to another graph, and you want that whenever you select on that specific table, it pops up or gives you more information. This is where you would go. So I'm going to create a single master filter by just clicking on it. And as you can see, it only gives me information about Kevin. So with that, I can see Kevin's performance, how much he sold, how much he made, and to which customers. And if Kevin wanted a performance, wanted to review, if you wanted to review Kevin's performance and have proof of it, you would able to select export to a PDF, an image on Excel, or export the specific table by just going to the specific table and clicking on the export button, as you can see there. And you also have the multi-master filter. So when you do that, let me do that. Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened to my filter there. But okay, I just wanted to show you the multi-filter. So with the multi-filter, it is useful if you want to see for a specific user by clicking on them. So you would click on the multi-filter and cost data source referencing. So if you click on it on Kevin, it'll show you information about Kevin. If you wanted information about Mbali, you'll click on Mbali. And so forth. So I just also want to quickly create. So once you're done with that, you can save it, and you would save it as salesperson performance. So I'm just going to quickly save it. Then I'm just going to show you where you can access that. So once you close the Palladium and reopen it, you would go to dashboards, and then you just say the main section. Then you have custom dashboards. So under the custom dashboards drop down menu, you would have your salesperson performance. So once you click on it, voila, you have your dashboard that you created. So you can filter it as well for the current week, financial year. If you just want today, you can do that as well. All right, so I'm just going to quickly do another dashboard. This will be customer overview. I know there's already one dashboard for customers, but I'm just going to do one so that we can just recap on how to create a new dashboard. So you can click on add new dashboard, and it's going to open a screen that will be blank, and you'll see that we do not have a data source or any tables to select from. So we will go to our data source tab, click on add query, you'll click on query and run query builder. So I'm going to use one for customers. So just a customer overview. So I'm going to go to table invoices because I want revenue. So we have our table invoice stock. So our invoices for our accounts payable will be table invoice stock P. All right, so I want to use that. Double click on it so that the table can populate here. So what do I want on this side? I want the customer's name, and so too will have information about the customer's name. Then I also want the total revenue on that. Let's see what else we can put in there. Okay, just for illustrative. So you can just preview the results before you proceed. And here you'll see that you have your customer name, which is a customer code. You have the customer name, which is under the sold to column. Then you have the DEC total, which is the total revenue. All right. And you click on OK and you click on finish. So now we have information or a source, and we have tables where we can select from. So the more knowledgeable you get with this, you'll be able to do complex dashboards, and that'll be useful for your liking actually. And yeah, so let's quickly do one more table before our time runs out. So my starting point will be first create a list of customers so I know what I'm dealing with. All right, so my first column would be the customer name, which is a customer code, sold to, customer information, a column about the total revenue. All right, so we have that. What else would I like to see, or what type of visual representation would I like? So let's do something else. I see there's a tree map. So we will click on tree map. Tree map is just a block of information that's represented by value. So the bigger the block, the more valuable or more numeric value is in the block. So we will click, you put under values, you put the DEC total and the customer name actually and arguments. So here, the bigger the block, that means the more revenue was generated from the specific customer. And the smaller the block, the more, that means the less revenue was generated from those customer. And then we can also have, let's do, let's see. So you also have, let's do a bar graph. So we'll have our total under values and our sold to under arguments. Okay, I see that the argument is a bit long, so I'm just going to use the customer code. So we have the customer code there. And then let's also create cards. So cards, like I said, you can think of it like a business card. It just has information in a block form. So we have our total, which will be actual if there is targets or if there is credit limits. you would have it under target and it will show you how it is. So I'm just going to put that under target so you can see how it would look. Then I would have under series customer name, sold to under arguments. That doesn't go in there. Apologies for that. All right, so here you'll see that it just has the customer's information, its code, then on the top left is the actual amount. And let's say there was a target of 2,000, then it will show us that the shortfall, not a targeted credit limit, it'll show you here that this person has so much left until they meet the credit limit, and also in the percentage formula. Then we'll also just quickly create a pie chart. So you click on pie chart and we will have under values, we will have our total revenue, sold to under C's. Let's see. So we will have that. So currently it doesn't look nicely spaced out and information looks all cramped up. So we are able to adjust that by adjusting the different tables. So you can just right click at the end of the table and edit it. If you want to move it around, you can do that. Let's put it here. So if you want to move it, you just drag it. And let's move this one here. So you can set it up however you like and how you would like to see it visually. So once you're done, you just simply click on the export button as a PDF, image, or Excel sheet, or you can just save it as is, and this will be your customer performance. And once you're done designing it, you're able to close it. Okay, let's just wait for it to load. You're able to close it, and this is your dashboard screen. You'll see it there. Then you'll filter for the specific date, current financial year, refresh the data, and it'll populate it accordingly. All right, so that's an introduction to dashboards and how to create a dashboard. If there's any questions, you are allowed to ask. You can just unmute yourself and speak. If there are no questions, you're more than welcome to leave. I'm just gonna wait for anyone who has questions. Or if anyone wants me to repeat something, I can do that for them. All right, so these are just the default dashboards. Just a quick review. If you want to edit the default dashboards, you just simply click on the dashboard designer. And under the dashboard designer, you're able to move around the specific dashboards. If you want to change the colors, you click on the design and you can select the colors here. If you want to change the name of a specific dashboard, you just go to design and click on edit names. If you would like to rotate those, you can do that. So dashboards have the luxury of manipulating data to however you want to see it, how you prefer it. If you prefer lines, you can do a line graph. If you prefer pie charts, you can do a pie chart. And this will enable you to make better decisions in your business and improve your business analysis. Then you also have the luxury of converting a specific table, a metro block, into something else. So you just right click and convert it into whatever you prefer. For example, tree maps. You click on tree maps and it'll automatically convert it. So with tree maps, the bigger the block, that means the bigger the percentage or value that that customer holds of that specific info. All right. I just want to see if I forgot anything. Yeah, and if you want more information to be displayed here, you can simply see what data tables that you have on the left-hand side. And if you want to add more, so I see here they don't have the customer name, I can just simply put that in and it will populate there. You can do the same with other tables. Let's go to top inventory. So I have sales, and this I also want to have value there. So as you can see, for there's sales and there's value. So the first bar graph will represent sales, the second one will represent value. Value will be the inventory on hand. So if you want to convert that, or let's say edit it to something else, I just want to enlarge it. And if you want to enlarge it in terms of, if you want to look at this specifically, you can maximize it. There you also have the options of transposing it, how you want to see it, rotating it, and so forth. Having a double bar graph, which now represents the sales amount first and the value on hand and so forth. So whenever you hover around it, it'll give you more information. And once you're done, you can save it. And the next time you open this dashboard, it'll be like this. So I'm just going to minimize that back. So here I have user performance. User performance is the user accounts that you use to log in. So this is a sample company. So nothing was processed under the individual user account. Let's see what else we can do. So you see with this table, we have dates involved, so we can also change that. Let's see if we put month year. So month year has the date set up as the month and the year. So March 2015, December 2015, February 2015. And let's see what else we can do. So this is equal to amount, so that doesn't make a difference. All right. If there's any other questions, please feel free to ask me. I will hang around and see if you guys still have questions. If you guys do not have questions, it'll be okay to leave as I am also done. Just to note, once you save it, once you edit the default dashboard, and once you save that edited default dashboard, it will now become a custom dashboard. So just remember that. So once you go back to the screen, do not look for it here. Look for it under your custom dashboards, which should be test 2. So you can have different analysis. This is another dashboard that I have made. As you can see, this is also a custom analysis. So you can set up dashboards to your preference, however you like. This is similar to the one we made. All right then, I'm seeing that the time is up. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something from this. Thank you for joining. I will stop sharing my screen now and I'll be ending the live.